Here is Gary Zukav, who we love so much. Hi, Gary, you're on camera.
Hello, Scott.
Blessings, Gary.
Oh, thank you, Shananda. Thank you, Shakina. It's wonderful to hear you speak again.
You know, it's as I look at Gary and I look at the twin ray, it really is beautiful because it's like these two different generations of wisdom keepers. You know, I like to often say, you know, the twin ray represent the next generation. And Gary, you've been lighting the way for us for so long, for so many years, starting with the seed of the soul and universal human and all that you've shared with us for so long. For those who don't know, I think most everybody knows Gary and his work. What some people may not know is that Gary's beloved wife and partner, Linda, left her physical body a few months ago. And Gary has been learning and sharing his experience of still being in divine partnership with Linda. And so that's going to be part of, probably a significant part of what we're talking about tonight. And so, Gary, I really appreciate so much your being with us and sharing your time with us tonight. And I just want to ask you, as we honor you, as we honor the decades of work that you've done to light the way as an illuminated visionary, what would you like to share about the principles that are driving you at this time?
Love. That's the principle. That's the practice. That's the experience. That's the beginning and that's the end. I've been saying, I wouldn't call them visionary things. I've been sharing what's been given to me. And because of practicing what's been given to me, I have, in my aware life, transformed a life that began with less consciousness into more consciousness. And the more consciousness that was involved in my life, the more joy was involved in my life. I have to think, Scott, because right now I'm in a time of transition. We talk about generations of people. From that perspective, we're talking about one incarnation into the earth's go, and there are generations to that. But what if there are countless lives that a soul has simultaneously, countless lives? Then what good is a lineage? It's good. It's good within a limited domain of experience. Well, my experience has been expanded greatly now since the soul of my beloved Linda Francis decided to return home. I was told, we were told, and we've told others what we have been told because that's what we are. We're sharers of what we know. We're not creating what we know. It doesn't belong to us. But what we've been sharing is, among many other things, the main message we've been sharing is this, that there's a great transformation in consciousness that's affecting the human species right now. It's the transformation from less awareness to more. It's the transformation from perception that's limited to the five senses into perception that's not limited to the five senses. It's from understanding that comes from the intellect and is limited by the understanding of the intellect into understanding that comes from the higher order logics and understandings of the heart. This transformation in human consciousness is happening fast. The velocity is startling. It's happening within a few generations. This is in contrast to the evolution of five-sensory humanity that took place over 300,000 years, or longer, depending upon where you start counting. And so all the books that we've done, all we've written, all the activities that we've created, all the events that we've shared, carry this message. The message is the consciousness of humankind itself is transforming, and you are part of that. I am part of it. hundreds of millions of us are now being affected by that new consciousness. And so we of this generation, the last and the ones to come for another couple of generations, are in a unique place. Not that everyone isn't always in a unique place at any time, but here's the uniqueness in this situation. We stand with one foot in two worlds. The old consciousness, the consciousness that is more than dying, it's dead. It's not got a life. There is no vitality in it. And in that old consciousness, all that can be seen and heard and known belongs to the five senses and comes through them. The understanding of power from that perspective is the ability to manipulate and control. And now that we're in a new consciousness, we're expanded in ways that I've just mentioned, and the new understanding of power is alignment of the personality with the soul. So what is a multisensory perception? First of all, it's the perception that, or the sense that you're more than a body and a mind, that the world is more than random, that is meaningful, symbolic, that the universe is more than inert, that began with the Big Bang. What happened before the Big Bang? That's what every physicist is trying to put a formula to. But every heart knows the answer. What existed before the Big Bang? Love. What exists while the universe is expanding according to the regularities of 5th century or empirical science? Love. What will exist after the Big Bang contracts again into a seed? Love. So, just as Sunanda and Shekinah were saying, love is what we are. But how, what do you do with that? What do you do with that when you're sad, when you're angry? What do I do with that? When all I can think of is wanting Linda to be back. When all I can think of is what a frightened part of my personality can think of. One that's resentful or angry or jealous or superior or inferior. All of those are expressions of fear. And that means simply that all of those are experiences that keep you from experiencing in yourself loving parts of your personality, which are those that are grateful and appreciative and caring and patient and in awe of the universe. So we have been teaching people how to create authentic power. And it's just two tools that we teach: emotional awareness and responsible choice. So if you imagine that there's currents of energy that are always flowing through you, well, look at it this way. You are not simply a person that has a lot of different emotions. Sometimes you're one thing and sometimes you're another. Your personality has a multitude of parts. Some of them originate in fear, some of them originate in love. And creating authentic power is the ability to distinguish within yourself those that originate in love and those that originate in fear. And choosing love, no matter what is happening inside of you or what is happening outside of you. That's creating authentic power. That means that when you're angry or jealous or resentful, that means that when you want to kill someone or you want to kill yourself, you can step back from that a moment and look in your chest area, for example, and your solar plexus area, and your throat area, and the area around your temples, and see what physical sensations you can find there. Physical sensations, not happy, sad, joyful. No. If you're in a frightened part of your personality, those sensations will be throbbing, aching, stabbing, burning, stinging, churning, contracting. And your thoughts will be critical, judgmental. Oh, she's so stupid, or I'm so stupid. And from that, you can step back just half a step, metaphorically speaking, and recognize this is a frightened part of my personality. This experience is not coming from the unchangeable ground of my being. It belongs to a part of my personality, and I do not need to be controlled by it. I have many other parts of my personality. And I can put my attention in one of them, one that's patient, one that's caring, one that's content, while I'm experiencing the painful physical sensations of the frightened part of my personality. In other words, you're not trying to heal or change anything in you, but to become aware and to move beyond the control of the parts of your personality that originate in fear, because those are the parts that keep you from giving the gifts that you were born to give. And that's where your meaning lies. That's where your fulfillment lies. That's what's beckoning to you. That's your heart. So that's how you create authentic power. It's not really esoteric. It's easy to understand. And in my experience, it requires discipline. It requires commitment. It requires courage. It requires compassion and conscious communications and actions to create authentic power. Authentic power is something that you will create. If not now, then later. Authentic power is the ability to move through your life with an empowered heart without attachment to the outcome. Without attachment to the outcome. I heard a Chan master once. He was explaining a state that sounded wonderful to me. And he said, it's like a bird flying through the air, leaving no trace behind. It's like a knife cutting through water, leaving no trace. And then he said, but in order to do this, you cannot have a hair's breadth of attachment. Well, I didn't understand that at the time. I'm so literal. Part of my personality is, and I thought, does that mean a rabbit that's breathing? And how is that what I have to have? No, he's talking about the diameter of a human hair. How small is that? If you have that much attachment, you can't have this state. The attachment that he was talking about comes from fear. It comes from frightened parts of your personality. The Buddha said it. And now there are billions of Buddhists, or a billion anyway. And they all recognize the truth of that. The Buddha said, there is suffering. That was his first words when he woke up. There is suffering. There certainly is. And I didn't even notice it for the first 35 or 40 years of my life. That's when I was addicted to sex. That's when I was a Green Beret officer. That's when my life was motorcycles, more sex, sometimes some drugs, and more sex. Then, well, you get the idea. I thought I was living a very good life. I wasn't. I had no idea how painful it was. But somebody had said to me, Gary, you know, the reason you're doing what you're doing and the reason you become a Green Beret is because you're frightened. Oh, I would not have understood that. It would have caused a fight. There's a street name for that condition, macho. And that's what I was. So that's the message that I want to share with you. That's the message that Linda and I have shared in every event, every book, everything that we've done. And then the next thing we say, and I am saying it now, I don't anticipate that you will, or even suggest that you do, believe anything that I am saying simply because I say it. Experiment with it if you resonate with any part of it. See what registers for you, what you resonate with, and then see how that works in your life when you apply it. And then expand that suggestion. Don't believe anything that anybody tells you just because they have a television show or a book or a pulpit or a lot of people like them on a social media platform. You're the one that needs to resonate with what you hear or not. And if you do resonate, try it out. Try it out. So when I tell you about authentic power, discovering experientially the frightened parts of your personality, which means experiencing them fully, never suppress or repress or deny an emotion in any way, but instead feel it fully, the way 5 sensory personalities don't yet. By putting your attention in these areas, and these are just 4 areas, they're energy processing centers. In the East, they're called chakras. That's a Sanskrit term. My first language is English, so we call them energy processing centers. They're the same. They're real. So you can imagine that you're always radiating energy from each of your energy processing centers in love or in fear. And if you're radiating it in fear, you hurt in that area. That's painful. That's a loss of energy and fear and doubt. And if you're radiating it in love, it feels good. Authentic power, an authentically powerful personality just radiates in love. Well, I'm not there yet. I have a lot of frightened parts, but I know how to recognize them now. I've gotten really good at that since Linda had a stroke and her body died. I thought I was good at it before, and I was pretty good. But you might say I've entered another level of proficiency. Not only in that, but in communicating. I have never felt Linda's loss. For those of you who haven't met Linda, there's something on our website, seatofthesoul.com. I think it's there. If not, please sign up for Soul Connections and you'll get it. It's a link. It's a celebration of Linda.
I'm going to actually take people, Gary, to some of those websites. And I've actually pulled up a couple of photographs of you and Linda. I love that.
Isn't she beautiful?
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yes, she is.
We had, I had the honor of Linda and Gary doing several events as part of the Global Peace Tribe. And they actually did an entire 2-hour play shop that was just so beautiful. This is another photograph of the two of them that I especially love. I love how
that's the same one, Scott.
Oh, is it the same one? There's another one that I meant to show.
That's all right. I love that.
Well, you got to see it twice. Here's the other picture that I pulled of the two of them together.
Oh yes, that's Linda too.
Yeah,
you know, it's you can see how beautiful Linda is, and in my eyes, everyone is beautiful, including my beloved, especially my beloved. But I began to know things. We were in the kitchen together when she had a stroke. I turned away for a moment and I heard a muffled sound of confusion, and I saw her fall to the floor. And I recognized what was happening to her. And I called an ambulance at once, 911. And the ambulance took her to a fairly large regional hospital in this area that has a stroke department where they do endovascular thrombectomies. And I thought, this is no problem. Because if you can remove a clot from a stroke within 2 hours, in the old days, there'd probably be no permanent damage. But with an endovascular thrombectomy, it can be up to 24 hours. And I followed the ambulance at 80 miles an hour to the hospital. We were there in 25 minutes. And when I saw Linda at a room in the ER, there was a surgeon there, the surgeon. He wasn't busy. He wasn't doing surgery. And Linda went straight into surgery. And about an hour later, he called me and he said, I can't do it. It didn't work. He said, Linda's veins have like S's in them. And he couldn't put his device through the veins, get it around the curves to where the block is. He said, I tried twice, going in through the groin, then I went in through the wrist and through the shoulder, and I still couldn't. And he said, I asked, is there anything else you can do? And he said, there's one unconventional procedure. I'll do it if you tell me to. I told him. Said, I can puncture her carotid artery. He did. And he still couldn't get the device from there to here where the block was. And he explained all this to me later. He was pushing so hard that the sheath in her artery started to slip back. And it caused a bruise in her neck. That was insignificant medically. But he was trying to explain to me how hard he tried, and he couldn't do it. Well, we've always been told, because all the things that I tell you were told to me and told to us that when a soul decides to go home to non-physical reality, nothing could stop it. I saw this. I saw this with my eyes. We did everything right. Linda was on an operating table in 90 minutes. And 3 times, the surgeon, who's the best in this area, he's the reason why there's a department, tried and couldn't. And that's when I realized Linda's soul is going home. It took another 3 days for that to happen, but I realized in that moment that I'm trying to push the river. On the way home, I had a surreal experience, one of a multitude of them since then. The world kept going on. I was on the freeway and people were doing what they were always doing. Why was that happening? Don't they know what's happening? Well, and in the next 3 days, I began to hear more from our teachers. We have 2 of them. By the way, hearing from a non-physical teacher is a multi-sensory perception. That's why you might be experiencing it in different ways. And I asked the teacher, whom I trust completely, because I've been gaining wisdom and compassion from this entity. Entity is not the right word, from this source of wisdom and compassion, this impersonal source, for 37 years. And he said, I don't know if he's a he, but I'm projecting my own gender. To why am I hurting so much? He said, because you are clinging to what frightened parts of your personality demand that the world be. They demand that Linda be with you, by your side. Then he said, let it go. That has nothing to do with your love for Linda. Your love for Linda is beyond the Earth School, is not a part of the Earth School, and is far beyond it. Then he said something startling to me. He said, co-create with her. I wasn't thinking. I was just being and feeling in a blur of pain and tears. But he said that. And then he said, that is within your capability now. You have both experienced what you thought was beyond imagination. And he's talking about our love. We never imagined we could experience love like we share. He said, before you both now lies more that you will also consider beyond your imagination. So I remember in that moment, it's one of my lucid moments. They were all lucid, but this one stands out. It was like through this, like the ocean coming up, and through this blur of pain and tears and snot and laughing and crying and sobbing. I remember saying to Linda directly, I will co-create with you. I will co-create with you, beloved. I don't know how or what or how the book that I'm writing now will fit into that, but I will co-create with you. And Linda said to me, the book that you are writing now will be a prelude to what we will co-create. So those were the first words that she spoke to me. And that sounds mystical. It's very different because I'm in the Earth School and she is in a non-physical realm or realms. But isn't that what we've been talking about for 30 years, both Linda and I and everyone else who's been helping you to look at more than you can see with your 5 senses or understand with your intellect? We have told everyone who listens or comes to an event that intuition is the voice of the non-physical world. And we support individuals in consulting intuition. Isn't that someone in the Earth School consulting with a source of wisdom and compassion that is not in the Earth School? It is. So it would be much too simple to say that's been my life. My life changes all the time. Sometimes it's unbearable pain. Sometimes it's startling insight. And I'm learning through it all. I made the decision immediately that I was not going to squander this pain. It was too big, too huge, too there. And I was going to use it to grow and to share in ways that can help people. And I've been doing that. I'm still doing it.
Gary, it's such an honor for you to be sharing with us this beautiful experience. And it's really profound for us to be witness and for you to be sharing your heart so vulnerably, so beautifully. And thank you. And thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda, for playing your part in this way.
Is our time up already, Scott?
No, I mean, it is, but this is so good that I am making an executive decision that we're gonna go a little bit longer than we had originally planned, because people are enjoying what you say so much. There's so many comments flying by in the chat box, I can't even track, but
there's a few things I wanted to add. I have been
please.
surprised immensely by what I've come to see about Linda that I didn't see before, and what I've come to see about myself that I didn't see before, and the changes that have happened to me. One of the first of them was I realized that I don't have any reason for being alive now except to love people. I wasn't like that before. I simply wasn't. I shared a lot out of compassion, but this was a new experience, and it still is. And I like it. I like it a lot. It comes out in many different ways. I know that Linda and I will co-create in ways beyond talking. Linda talks with other people. Now, it's one thing if she talks to me, says things like, "I'm always with you, beloved." But she talked to one of the people who was in our support team and said something valuable. And our spiritual partner said to Linda, this is while Linda's personality is not here anymore, said to Linda, "How do I know that I'm not just making you up in what I'm hearing?" And Linda said to her, "You don't, but do you believe it?" That's not an ordinary conversation. That's substantive. That's meaningful. I've discovered so many other things about myself that I like. And at the same time, as sometimes I feel so much pain, frightened, let me correct that. Frightened parts of my personality feel so much pain. And I have asked each time, well, how do I co-create with Linda? I want to go. Let's do it. I want to do it. And the answer has always been patience. Be patient. One teacher said, "You're like a man that's just been given sight and you have chaotic experiences." And another said, "You're like a seed that's been growing and it's just come through the ground." But lately, I've been understanding something else. The way to co-create with Linda is to enjoy myself. Now, here is my current confusion. When I first heard this, I said, I was frustrated. And I said, but that's exactly what I can't do while I'm missing Linda. And the teacher said, that's the point. So I am learning how to enjoy myself while Linda is not here with me, while frightened parts of my personality are demanding that the world be different. Because they're frightened parts of my personality that think that I cannot enjoy myself, I should be suffering, I should be grieving. The very first thing this teacher told me was that has nothing to do with your love for Linda. I asked the teacher once, when we're co-creating, will our love still be intact? He said, yes, it is eternal, but it's not exclusive. It now encompasses all of your beloveds. And that was the first thing he told me. Let your love now encompass all of your beloveds. I'm delighted to share these things with you because it is my intention that in doing so, it may wake something in you that will help you recognize multisensory perception within yourself and begin to experiment with it and use it and realize that you are not crazy. You are sane when you can understand things about people that your five senses can't show you, when you can talk to or interact with non-physical guides and teachers. And if I can support you in any way, I will. In the short time that I have left in the Earth School, which I now see in a different way, I've discovered that one of the things that frightened parts of my personality, and I will suggest frightened parts of yours, are attached to, is not only almost everything in the Earth School, but the Earth School itself. So I'm learning how to enjoy myself. And more than that, the advice I was given, not advice, the suggestion. Non-physical teachers don't advise. They make things clearer. And one of the things I saw more clearly was not only to enjoy myself, but to enjoy enjoying myself. And that's something I want to pass on to you too. I'm still working on that. It requires challenging frightened parts of my personality and cultivating the loving parts again and again and again and again and again. In other words, it's just like that old saying, before enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water. After chopping wood, carrying water. I do not know what that Buddhist saying means by enlightenment, but that before and after consciousness is now mine. My consciousness before I woke up in the Earth School, that's one of the things that happened before Linda's soul went home, was to create authentic power, cultivate love, and challenge fear. And now that I am awake in the Earth School, that just means I woke up and I saw this isn't just happening. It's in me, it's to me, it's around me. And it's exactly like the world that I left before. I didn't leave it before I woke up. I'm in the same world. I'm just seeing it through a different lens. Now, after that, my path is creating authentic power, cultivating love, challenging fear. I love talking with you. Thank you for your generosity, Scott and Danetta and the Illuminati Film Festival for inviting me to be a part of this. Thank you for taking the time to be with me while I've been sharing. It is a joy to love, and I love you completely. And I'm looking forward to whenever we can connect or connect again.
Gary, there's been dozens of messages that have come in the chat box. I'm just going to read a few. From Mark Janisowski, he writes, none of us will ever be the same after listening to Gary share his universal soul with us like this. There is a before and an after. That's the definition of a transformative moment of life. And we're very blessed. Stephanie writes, your sharing, Gary, has touched me deeply beyond my understanding. I'm crying heartfelt tears. Thank you. our beloved friend Nikita just writes so beautifully. Deep love and gratitude, Gary. And just person after person after person is appreciating you and appreciating what you've just shared. I want to take people, I've put the websites into the chat box. Stay with us for a moment, Gary, because I want to take people to a few of the places where they can dive deeper with you online. This is the beautiful Messages for Linda. It's a website with photographs, memories, where people, and anybody who has an experience that you want to share of Gary and Linda, you can share your message here. I just did one just before the show began tonight, sharing when Gary and Linda did their workshop, their play shop for the Global Peace Tribe. But there's all sorts of wonderful, wonderful ways that we can put up here our memories. And even tonight, share how tonight has touched you. And then I want to, of course, take people to Gary's main website, which is the Seat of the Soul Institute. And I love the opening. It says, "You are here to give the gifts you were born to give. We are here to support you." And so this is a wonderful place to go to learn more about what Gary and Linda are offering, their wisdom, their experiences of true authentic power, the alignment of personality and soul. And so it's a beautiful website, and there's a lot here. You can start your journey and learn some of these beautiful, powerful tools that Gary is still continuing to learn. And I so appreciate your humility with that, Gary. Thank you.
Beloved Scott.
Yes,
we would like to share that we had some of the most beautiful moments with beloved Gary and Linda here at our temple, just the four of us, having precious, precious time together. And even just a couple of days before she passed through the veils, we were in communication about to have them over again a couple of days after that. And just to honor the depths of Linda, her beauty, her elegance, her honesty, her sincerity, her wisdom, her love for Gary, her love for humanity. And the beautiful, beautiful soul connection that they shared. They really were one being. And we loved them so much, and we love you still so much. And we are here for you. And we celebrated yours and Linda's birthday just a couple of weeks ago together.
Yes, that's right.
And we sent you that information, and we hope you felt that.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you both so much. It's so good to have you in my life.
So good to have you in ours as well.
So good to have you in ours.
We still have those little hearts, those
little hearts you brought us.
Yes.
Those hearts that you gave us from India, and they're on our altar.
They are on our altar.
They remind us of you, beloved Linda, every day.
Linda loved giving those away, didn't she?
Yes, she was
And
quite
we
the angel of
do too.
gifts.
Because it symbolizes what we do when we really give to one another. The depth of it, the nurturing of it, the power of it.
We love you so much. Thank you for your precious vulnerability
And authenticity.
and authentic power.
Yeah.
This is really, really amazing, Gary. I'm going to bring Danette back on for a moment. And thank you, Twin Ray, for being here and sharing your memory and your love for Gary and for Linda. And, you know, and what we're seeing, what we're all witnessing, everybody, is this beautiful global community that's coming together. And we really are all finding each other. We are the imaginal cells of the new paradigm, the butterfly that's emerging out of the dying caterpillar. So each and every one of you, whether you're watching us live today, whether you're watching the recording of this, if you're seeing this experience, know that you are part of our family. You are part of this awakening world, and we're all sharing wisdom, sharing compassion, and growing and evolving together. So everyone is welcome. Everyone is a part of this beautiful tribe. You know, what's taken place here is just so beautiful and so profound. I'm almost thinking that it feels like a time to conclude, even though Neil Donald Walsh was going to be with us and he isn't feeling well. So he sent me a text this morning asking if he could take a rain check. And I said, of course, yes. And I have a pre-record of Marianne Williamson, but you know, honestly, this feels like the right place to conclude. This Saturday night on the Awakening World, we're going to be honoring the Illuminate Film Festival, and I'll show the pre-record of Marianne at that time. So join us on Saturday night, 6 o'clock Pacific time on the Awakening World. Danette will be with us. We're going to show some highlights of this weekend. Because this was just, I don't think there's anything else to say.
Can I end, Scott, with an actual award presentation? I almost thought I couldn't keep it together enough to present this award because I was in tears, Gary, because, you know, my heart just felt your heart, and you have just really cultivated love in each and every one of us tonight. And, you know, I'm going to obviously present you this award for all the reasons, you know, why we felt you deserve this award, but there's just an even stronger reason tonight, which is that, you know, you standing in this vulnerability tonight, sharing this moment with us, is just a testament to who you are and your being, and your willingness to be forever a student, right, at the same time as you are a teacher, and that just rings true so much as I present you with the 2022 Illuminate Conscious Visionary Award. I'll tell you a little bit about the award. The Conscious Visionary Award is designed to recognize individuals for their exceptional foresight and creativity and vision, leadership as facilitators of human transformation. And each year we honor a pioneer who has also chosen to leverage not only other vehicles, but also the vehicle of film to empower humanity. And I know you're very humble about this, but you have indeed lent your presence to films such as In Search of the Great Song and The Indigo Evolution, and Heart of the Soul, of course, with Gary Zukav. Previous recipients of the award have included Deepak Chopra, Greg Braden, Barbara Marx Hubbard, Dr. Michael Beckwith, and Lynn Twist. Gary, I want to say that our audiences have been in awe of your service for decades, and your prolific and pioneering work in transforming human consciousness has opened countless people to the powerful tool of awareness to create a life of meaning and purpose, creativity, health, joy, and of course, love. Through your New York Times best-selling books, your talks, events, films, you've shared groundbreaking wisdom with us, and you've been among our favorite guides, helping us move from darkness to light and from the pursuit of external power to authentic power. And for these reasons, we see you as the ultimate conscious visionary. So with great pleasure and the most open of hearts, the Illuminate Film Festival would like to honor you, Gary Zukav, with the 2022 Conscious Visionary Award. My love.
Thank you, Danette. It's an honor.
I'm going to go to gallery view, and I want to invite everybody to turn on your cameras, twinkle, blessings, namaste, just so we can see those of you that do have your cameras on. And I see so many of our beloved members. There's Wild Abbott Mystic Jury and Nikita and Mark and Pamela Butters and so many of our friends. Oh, Mashar, for heaven's sakes, all of our dear friends that are with us. And thank you. This has been a beautiful, beautiful evening. Thank you again, Twin Ray, for being with us the whole evening. Thank you again, Matt Kahn, for getting us off to such an incredible start. Please, everybody, get your pass for the virtual film festival. Every movie is so good. And I will look forward to seeing you this weekend on The Awakening World. Gary, I will be in Oregon in a couple of weeks, and I look forward to seeing you and also seeing the Twin Ray at that time. So namaste, everybody. Have a beautiful evening, and thank you for being with us. Good night.